All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So this video, we're going to talk about my experience recently coming down with COVID, which was absolutely the worst sickness, definitely since I turned 30, but maybe like in 10 or 15 years, the worst I've ever felt. So close that all the way so I don't disturb the wifey. I don't know if you can see Marlowe in the door. There he is. He wants to come out so bad. So there's been a lot of talk about like my weight loss, you know, because I did lose a lot of weight recently. I was getting kind of fat, probably in May, June. But I fasted a lot in LA. In LA, we were really doing a lot of fasting. But the road trip, obviously, I wasn't eating all the time because I was driving, we were just traveling. And literally, when we came back from the road trip, it was about, I think we were here for like 2 days. And I came down with COVID. Don't know where I got it. I'm assuming I caught it somewhere on the road trip. But I really don't know. I mean, it was very random. I just sort of, after about 2 days of being here, we didn't even have like any furniture. We were sleeping on an air mattress. I just crashed. You know, I think it was like a Tuesday, and I just totally crashed. I thought I had strep throat. So here's the thing. The COVID, like, really, I didn't feel anything in my lungs. I didn't have like a cough or a cold or anything like that. The COVID attacked my throat. So I originally thought I had strep throat because I had like white patches in my mouth. I had like really sore gums. You know, I couldn't even floss or brush my teeth because my gums were so sore. And my throat just kept getting, my glands were so swollen, my lymph nodes back here were swollen. I mean, it was the worst illness I've ever had. There were times where I thought I was gonna die. And my fever too, because I guess it had something to do with the throat and everything. I had a terrible fever. You know, my body was trying to fight this shit off, and the fever was like very concerning, and I had like chills, sweats, and I was cold. I mean, this lasted literally for like, that lasted for like 5 or 6 days. Altogether, I was down for about 10 days. 10 days completely bedridden, with like 5 or 6 days sick as a dog, couldn't even move, couldn't eat. You know, a lot of people in the comment section are wondering like, well, you know, COVID shouldn't have made it impossible for him to eat. It was impossible to eat. I was not hungry. My throat was so sore. I couldn't eat chips. I couldn't eat cereal. I couldn't eat anything that was too hot. I mean, and I just wasn't hungry because I was so freaking sick. And actually, this gland right here is still a little swollen. It still kind of hurts a little bit. Even after I sort of got over the illness and I was starting to feel a little bit better, and you know, I went to the gym with her. This was actually after I took Paxslovid, which I'll talk about. I still had like these swollen glands and swollen lymph nodes for like a week after. So I would say altogether, like, I was pretty sick for 10 days, just bedridden for 10 days. But it was probably about 2 weeks that I was really kind of sick, because it took me a day or two to kind of come down with it. You know, I felt my throat kind of getting sore, and you know, it just, it kind of like kicked in after a day or two, and I just, like I said, I totally crashed. So, let's talk about the Paxslovid, all right? I did take a regimen of Paxslovid, all right? And that, I think, definitely kind of kicked it out of my system. Now, you guys know I don't like Big Pharma. I think that's actually produced by Pfizer. I don't like Big Pharma. I don't take vaccines. Has this changed my mind on vaccines? No, not at all. You know, my natural immunity, hopefully now, is going to be that much stronger. You know, because I had COVID about 2 years ago, but it was like a lung thing. You know, it was one day of being super sick, and then I just had sort of like a cold, and like my lungs, like they just sort of itched. You know, I had like an itchy chest. I don't know how to explain it, but and I did take a COVID test. That's how I know I had COVID. So I talked to a doctor via telehealth, and he prescribed me Paxslovid this time around. So the Paxslovid was like a 5-day regimen. You take 3 pills in the morning, 3 pills at night. Very strong antivirals. The Paxslovid actually made me feel kind of sick too. You know, I felt just kind of off from these very strong antivirals. And so, yeah, I took that regimen. It was 5 days. I do think that kind of helped. So that was about 5 days, 6 days into my illness when I started taking the Paxslovid. I think it definitely sort of kicked it out of my system or prevented it from becoming something even more serious, because I was very concerned about my fever. I was very concerned about my throat. I literally felt like I was gonna die. I mean, literally. And I wasn't eating. And so I took the Paxslovid, and it took like 4 or 5 days, but I started feeling better. I think because of that, drug. My theory is that possibly, I took the Paxslovid knowing this, that perhaps there's like maybe a vaccine or something, in the Paxslovid. Like maybe the big pharma figured, well, not everybody's going to take the vaccine, right? So let's put the vaccine in these pills, and we'll give the pills to people that get really, really sick because they didn't take the vaccine. And then we'll get everybody vaccinated. That's just a little theory of mine. I wonder that. I wonder, is there a vaccine in Paxslovid? You guys let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think the vaccine is in the Paxslovid? I used to see that commercial, the Paxslovid commercial. That was... Okay. I used to make fun of the commercial all the time. It was so corny too. They were like, if it's COVID, Paxslovid. I mean... And it was all these like fat people, This one lady, she was like, I know being overweight makes it risky for me, so if it's COVID, Paxslovid. Such the corniest fucking commercial, dude. Anyways, never thought I would take Paxslovid, but I was so sick, guys. I was desperate. I was desperate. I was in a moment of weakness when I took the Paxslovid. So. Yeah, worst sickness of my life, but that's why I lost a little bit of weight. I mean, I'm gaining it back now. I'm eating regularly. We are eating a lot of seafood. I'm eating oysters and eggs for the male vitality. I'm gonna have to do a whole video about that. The oysters are the truth, gentlemen. I'm telling you. But yeah, I've been eating more since I got better. I'm back at work. I've been working now almost 2 full weeks. That was the other thing too. I went down with COVID. I worked for 2 days, and then I came down with COVID. And so like now I'm like behind on bills. It just sucked. It really, really sucked. But it is what it is. I'm better now. I'm pretty much all healed up, except for I still got a swollen gland here. And I'd like to think my natural immunity is that much stronger now, and next time I'm exposed to COVID, but who knows? They could be releasing new strains out into the population every season, and we're all just going to get COVID, once a year, a couple times every few years. I'd like to think not, but the biological, chemical warfare is definitely real, obviously. So, it felt like, it didn't feel natural, I'll tell you that. It felt like a designer virus had attacked my throat. And like I said, I originally thought it was strep, but it wasn't, it was COVID. So COVID can affect people in very different ways. For me, it just happened to be like a strep throat. It wasn't strep, it was COVID. Anyway. That's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video. If you guys enjoyed the COVID update, give it a big thumbs up, comment down below. And as always, until next time, I'll see you on the next video.